Hello, Willow. Good evening. I'm trying to take creatine, but I'm losing weight. Will this hurt my losing weight? I do a lot of physical activity and I frequently fight kickboxing. Wow, kickboxer. I would say no, that it won't hurt the weight loss. However, to make sure that you don't retain some fluids with the use of creatine, which might happen every once in a while, instead of doing the loading phase of 20 grams for 4 days in the beginning to saturate the cells, the muscle cells, what you can do is you right off the bat start with the maintenance phase. So 5 grams a day. That will make sure that the fluid retention will not happen or will not happen as much. Actually, the idea that weight loss is hurt somehow by the creatine or that you gain weight with creatine is because of correlation. Usually people take creatine when they're doing a surplus of calories. When they're trying to gain weight, they usually use the creatine as well in order to maintain the muscle, in order to gain more performance, in order to lift more and heavier weights. So that's only correlation. There's no actual proof that creatine will make you bigger. It will, however, increase your performance in strength, speed, and explosion, which you really need for kickboxing. What's up, Little Willow? Little Willow? No, I'm the Big Willow. You're the Little Willow. You got it wrong, bro. So, which kind of recipients / Tupperwares do you use to transport your lunch and stuff like that? Big hug. I can't read this name. What do you mean? Tupperwares? I use Tupperwares. I use recipients. Oh, you mean like the plastic stuff and whatnot because of the environment? And okay, I usually use glass Tupperwares, but even the glass Tupperwares have a plastic lid, so there's always plastic, but it's reusable plastic, so it's not as bad. And by Europe standards, I believe that most of the plastic used in these containers, used in these recipients, is BPA free. So not only for my health and for the environment, I'm usually a very friendly person. Thank you for your question. Greetings, how can I concile with an S? We're doomed, right, Bruce? These kids, they're How can I concile calisthenics with a Y? We are really You know this is the end of the Western civilization anyhow. Anyways, how can I concile calisthenics with martial arts training? Big hug. It depends. Let's say you have a coach like I did, a master of Kung Fu, that gives you a lot of push-ups, a lot of pull-ups, a lot of squats during the martial arts workout per se. You, in that day specifically, you should not have the need to go and do some more. Let your muscles rest, let your muscles grow, let your muscles recover. However, if you have one of those workouts, training sessions that are only based on skills, like for example, self-defense, or any physical skill related to the martial arts that you need to work on, and technique, for example, grappling on the ground. What you can do is, at the end of the session, you can do your circuit training or your sets of, I don't know, pull-ups, push-ups, muscle-ups, the progressions, the plank progressions, the front lever progressions. You can do anything. Of course, the ideal would be always to separate both so that you can have meals in between and more recovery. So if you do the shaping or the strength work in one time of the day and the martial arts work in another, it'll be good for you. But most people don't have the time for that. So if you can blend both, it's great. But if you're saying that you want to do calisthenics because you want to increase your strength, for example, I'm gonna say that you should try, if you can, and do 2 or 3 times a week in an actual gym, working or starting to work with weights. We have a great video for you, which is based on those people who want to work out 1 to 3 times a week. I'd say 2 times a week will be very good for you, in which I give you everything, the total recipe, and how to understand the weight training in order to help you with everything else. So if you do the martial arts training and twice per week you go to the gym, and only go to the gym on those days to work out those training, those physical capacities in order to get better at your martial arts training, do that and follow that video. The link will be on the description, or it's either here because, you know, technology. Master Willow. See, now I'm enjoying this. now it all makes sense. Can I do my strength and hypertrophy workout on the same day that I do my sports training? And if so, can I do it before my game? Before my game? No, don't. Let's start from the bottom. Don't do it on game day. On game day, the game is everything. In this case, you're saying you do basketball. So on game day, basketball, the ball is everything. So don't go wasting your energy trying to lift weights, trying to do some hypertrophy or contracting the muscles. Don't do any of that. Go on the court and do a lot of dunks and what you guys do on basketball. As for the conditioning, and by that I mean the strength and the hypertrophy that you were talking about, that you were mentioning, you can either do on the same day, but please give a few hours in between for you to get some meals in between and get some good recovery. For example, a lot of athletes like to do on the mornings, bodybuilding training on the mornings or conditioning, and then late in the afternoon they will have their training sessions with their teams. That would be a great way. And since basketball is a very demanding sport of your physical abilities, I would not do it either before or right before or right after the training session. Unless, like I told the martial arts guy before, unless it's only a skill that you're working on that day and you didn't really get tired. But even if it's like 2 hours that you're doing that and drilling and drilling and drilling, you wasted a lot of energy, so you're not gonna have the best force production during the workout session. So I would always try to separate both. You can do them on the same day. How many times a day do you work out, Willow? I work out only once because I figured since I'm only working my conditioning to get ready for what's coming next, because I'm a stuntman, I never know what's coming next, and I also want the biggest longevity. So I want to be able to do this for a very long time. What I'm aiming for is to give my whole intensity on one session and not divide it by two. Because psychologically, if I go to the gym twice, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna divide the intensity for both. So if I go in the morning and then I go again on the evening or on the afternoon, what I'm gonna feel on the second turn, I'm gonna go like, oh, I already was here in the morning, so I'm gonna spare myself now. At least I worked out twice, so I'm doing the best I can. You know, it starts to get in you, and you're not gonna give it as much as you would if it would only be once. You know, do it once and do it right. So I usually work out from 6 to 7 times a week, usually very intense, from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, but 1 or 2 times a week, it will be only a brisk walk or something very, very simple, just as a form of active recovery. What I might do when I'm trying to cut some weight or cut some body fat is add some activity during the day. So instead of driving somewhere, I might walk, I might go by bike. I just want to ramp up my calorie expenditure, but it's not very intense. I might wake up and do a little bit stationary bike for like 30 minutes, or I might do that while I'm watching some Netflix, and that will help the overall consumption, the overall expenditure of those calories, but it's not gonna be as intense. When I go to the gym, it's usually intense. Intensity is key. Now for the winner of the prize of the shitty comment, Oliver Olivier. This is a comment on a video where I showed a little bit, it was a little fuzzy of me taking a shower. And this guy asked, did you really have to show your ass? And I answered, yes. And he said, well, you show what you want to give, right? And I didn't answer. So he said, in your case, your ass. And I was like, oh, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, nobody got that. Well done, Louis C.K. Let me add this to your question. Not only do I hate rep shavers, but I also hate those people who transform the exercise in order to do them better. For example, you say something like you need to touch